Rick Steele here on this Monday morning with a new betting advice video for you. As mentioned last week, I was going to do a video on the nuts and bolts of live betting. So here you go. Let's get into it. A couple of topics to cover off real quickly first. Don't forget to follow me across social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My handle is @RickSteele99. My goal in producing these videos, spending the time and money doing so, simply to help you to become a more proficient, more profitable sports bettor, especially in the betting advice video area. Also providing you with some free picks. So in that regard, put you on a few more winners, help you to avoid some losers. All that I ever ask for in return, after you view this, learn about the nuts and bolts of live betting, please support my YouTube channel by simply clicking on the subscribe button. I thank you in advance for that. And lastly, to get my official bets day in, day out, all year long, you simply go to the homepage of my website, pshltd.com. It's always free. You click on today's picks, and it will take you to exactly what I bet on a daily basis. No signups required, always free, no gimmicks, no false claims, and our records are updated daily. So this is a bit of a heavy topic, so let's jump right into the nuts and bolts as I see it as far as live betting is concerned. So with the advances of technology and the development of my own processes, live betting has become a bigger portion of my overall betting portfolio on a yearly basis. There are many complexities and nuances to live betting processes that I could literally write a book about, but we're not going to do that at this particular point, obviously. So I'm going to give you my best ability to give you an overview and providing you with some specifics. And I'll leave it up to you. If you have any questions, you know how to contact me, and I'll get into the specific personal questions that you have, anything related to sports betting, but more specifically live betting and this video as well. Now, two sports books, in my opinion, that I deal with that do an excellent job of providing a good menu, timely as far as live betting is concerned, is accounts of Pinnacle and Bookmaker, which you can open up obviously from the homepage of my website. You'll find those particular sportsbook banners there at the homepage. One advantage, obviously, of live betting is that you have additional visual information in order to make a bet while the game is in process. In other words, does the pitcher have his stuff for that particular day? Did a team in any sport mail it in? Are they flat? Did a questionable injured player participate in the game or not? So in order to profit from live betting, you need to understand how the books set their lines and are constantly moving the lines through the game via live betting. The live line starts with the closing line of the game. It then moves based on the book's algorithms of the current score and which team win percentage changes based on how much time is left in the game and the score currently. So there's two types, in my opinion, of live bets in general. You're betting into a game that you've also pre-bet, or you're making an initial bet on that event which you did not pre-bet before the game started. So when I do my handicapping for the day and set my lines, I have a set target list of games that I've determined have no initial line value, but if certain events take place as the game is going on, I will live bet it again if I get the line that I'm looking for. So discipline and adhering to value remains the same and is even more important when live betting. Do not just be impulsive. It's very easy to do, especially with live betting. And that note, only live bet when the game is paused. Do not live bet or try to do so while the game is in progress. There's many opportunities to live bet in between periods, in between halves, in between innings, so not necessary to do so while the game is going on. So let's go through a few examples broken down by sport where the game I'm betting live, I did not pre-bet. Baseball, for example, the starters are out and I have a distinct advantage in the bullpen. Note, when betting live baseball, always be aware of where the two teams are in their lineup as far as hitting is concerned. And if you want to maximize line value, bet when the other team is due to come up as far as the opposite side of what you're wanting to bet. In the NHL, if I like a medium to big priced favorite in a game, projected to be high scoring as well, I don't want to lay that big price pre-game. I watch the game, hope the opposite team scores the first goal. Then I'll jump on the team I wanted to bet in the first place at a much better price. However, if your team, the big favorite, scores and goes up in the game 1-0 or 2-0, you need to walk away. The opportunity, the window is closed for that particular event. I stress again the importance of discipline. Now, in basketball and the NHL, when you have teams that you think are going to hit the wall from fatigue, wait until the mid-game, see what the score is, and bet the other side in anticipation the other team is going to be running out of gas. Now, in basketball, both pro and college, such a game we know has big runs. It's not uncommon for teams to go on a plus 20 point swing. So if you have a team that was favored, for example, by 3 going into the game and mid-game with no extenuating circumstances, the live line is 18, and that's not very uncommon, take the plus 18, expecting the game to come back close to what the original closing line was. So there's a few examples for you of games that I will bet that I did not bet pre-game. Now, here's an examples of some situations where I did bet the game pre-game, but I'm also going to go in and do some live betting. Baseball, for example, found value in the game as far as starting pitchers were concerned. Now the game is tied late innings and it's now become a coin flip. I'm going to bet the other side, depending on the line, for a percentage of my original bet to minimize my exposure. Some of the value is gone in this game, realize, because I bet it based on the starting pitching gap. Another time I'm going to lay off a little bit on a baseball game is if I'm leading by 1 or 2 runs, but don't have full confidence in my bullpen. I'm going to lay off about 10% of my original bet with an excellent plus money line because I'm up 1 or 2 runs heading into the late innings. And if I do end up with a bad beat, I can literally more times than not lay off most of what I've exposed on my original bet and without jeopardizing too much of what I'm due to win as long as my bullpen holds on and it avoids me taking some bad beats as it relates to baseball. Now, in basketball, when I laid 3, for example, on a particular game, and say I'm up 15 at the half, I should be able to get a plus 14 on the other team. Another scenario where I took plus 10 heading into the game, if I'm tied or slightly ahead as far as halftime is concerned, you can go in, again, for that same small percentage, 10 to 20% of your original bet, and attempt to get a middle on the game. Now, you don't want to bet too much on the other side at halftime because you don't want to give back a lot of what's looking like a good original bet, but there's no harm in getting a little greedy and trying to go for some big middles at the same time as it relates to basketball. In the NHL, if a game is tied heading into the third Again, depending on the line and the game's circumstances, and literally now it looks like this NHL game has turned into a coin flip, I'll lay off some of my original bet, not to overly expose myself to the goofiness that the NHL has as far as overtime variances are concerned. Now, as I've just covered, the above points I've highlighted in relation to NBA and college basketball, but it also applies to the NFL and college football. But you must take into account as well, obviously in football, the swings on runs are less from one team to the other. Now, I know this was a heavy topic and I've covered a lot of intricate details on this particular video. Live betting, handicapping, is a process just like pregame betting. Don't be intimidated by it. There is a learning curve, and as usual, the best way of learning is by doing. However, there are some aspects as far as live betting that do not change to pregame betting. Do not live bet without doing the pregame handicapping. Only bet value and shop and be very line sensitive. You're going to find bigger differences in lines between books in live betting than pregame betting, making line shopping and having enough outs even more critically important. Pinnacle and Bookmaker, as I originally mentioned, very good books for live betting, but have numerous outs that you want to have. Check out my betting advice video in line shopping. It becomes even more critical, and I stress this in regard to live betting. Now, in general, with live betting, you're looking for reversals. In other words, current game results that are way off from the closing line odds. The logic being the game results will trend back more times than not towards the closing line. So to close off this topic as well, for now, in my opinion, in order to expand your betting business, live betting should be developed along with your pregame betting as part of your repertoire. So check it out. If, as mentioned earlier, anyone has any questions, you could shoot me questions across my social media accounts, here on my YouTube channel, and I'll get back to you with those responses as quickly as possible. I'll be back with you in the near future with some new betting free picks as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel before leaving. And as usual, I hope all your success in cashing your upcoming bets.